Hello everyone and welcome to the Just Add Idiots podcast. My name is Nick Parton and I'm with...
Johnny Rogers.
Yes, basically we're two idiots just answering submitted questions and talking general rubbish really. I mean, to be honest, I wish we could say something else because that's what every single podcast does. Maybe we need like a strap line or something for the tagline for the podcast. What do you think?
Just Add Idiots. Don't download it.
Nice. How about this? Or how about we answer your questions, no one walks away enlightened? Something like that.
That could work.
You know, something snappy. Basically, that's it. We answer your questions and try to make something entertaining. So we might as well talk about what we've been up to recently. How have you been, John? What have you been up to?
Busy.
You've recently moved house in a way.
Yeah.
How's that all going?
That's all right. The move went kind of quite well because we had a van, a white van, which is fun. It's fun to drive a white van, and you know, people get out of your way and shit like that, and you
do they?
Oh yeah, you come barreling along in a big Ford Transit, people give way to you.
Oh yeah. Which
is quite satisfying as a driver. But I am the most middle class white van driver in the country, I think. Because I actually had a copy of The Guardian.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
A copy of The
Guardian and a panini.
Well, actually, no, you joke. I had a 6-pack of croissants on the dash.
Wow. Brilliant.
But I have actually overtaken a white van before, and the guy driving was just reading The Sun.
Well, that's that column that the Sun do, isn't it? White Van Man.
Yeah, but no word of a lie. He had the paper just spread out on the steering wheel and was reading it, turning the page.
Good for him for fulfilling a national stereotype.
And they say men can't multitask.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that went all right. I'm kind of just surrounded by boxes now, and I'm kind of all my sort of, you know, the important stuff's out, the computer, the telly, and now it's just boxes of personal belongings, like you know, my music collection and stuff like that, and little knickknacks from my life so far. And actually, I'm just, rather than unpack them, I might just bin them. I can't be arsed.
Your Neil Young vinyl. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Frisbee that into the garden.
Now with kind of Spotify and all that, you sort of look at your big CD and vinyl collection and think, well, I've been lugging this around for quite a few years, but will I really still have it when I'm 80 years old? So just be ruthless and set fire to it now.
Thing is, though, I'm a paranoid sort of man, and I just look at it and I don't think, oh, that's clutter. I think that's my insurance policy when Spotify try and take all my music away from me.
Yeah.
Try and cut off access.
The other thing I've been doing is riding my new bike.
Oh, yeah.
And learning how to go down hills.
Is there much to learn?
It's not something you normally sort of really consider, but I've gone for a couple of rides lately with a mate of mine that have involved some steep hills. And what happens is you head off down these hills and you pick up quite a lot of speed. Like you start going 35, 40 miles an hour, which on a bike feels really fast. So it's quite scary, and you might have, you know, at times there's been a lot of traffic, so there's cars like flying past you as well. So you've got to watch out for potholes. So you're trying to like be focused and, you know, keep in mind what you're doing. But the problem is at that speed, your eyes just start watering. So you're just trying to retain focus whilst crying, basically.
That's ridiculous. What are you supposed to do about that? Racing goggles or something?
Yeah, that's pretty much like clear glasses kind of thing. And I actually went down a massive hill and it was much better.
Yeah.
So I was pleased with that.
Maybe you know, maybe you just all you need to do is get sponsorship now, and you are in the Tour de France.
Yeah, maybe. I think that's probably about the only sport left that I could possibly do. There's still a window left. Like, there are a few people in that sport who are like 35. So maybe
All right.
5 years to kind of like maybe try to get in there.
Are you sure these people haven't been cycling since like their early 20s though?
Well, yeah, there is that, but you know.
Well, all you need to do is make sure you got your glasses and that you're going downhill as much as possible. Then you've got as much a chance as anyone else.
I was chatting to a friend the other day, and we were talking about snowboarding, and he said something desperately bleak to me that really made me feel quite sad. I was sort of talking about how I could get better and, you know, sort of things I wanted to do, etc., etc.
I think I can see what's coming here.
And he basically said, you know, listen, mate, at your age, you're fucked. You can't get any better than you already are. You're just going downhill.
Well, I mean, how old is he? Is he the same age?
Same age.
Oh, God, yeah.
So that's, apart from that, work's really busy at the moment.
Yeah.
And I'm working with one of my clients is quite a big advertising agency, and we don't normally work with people like that often, but it is strange going into that world because people from big ad agencies really fucking love buzzwords. It is hero images, dial-up, wow factor, engagement. It's just and all acronyms.
It sounds horrible.
Yeah.
What I don't like about business nomenclature, and I'm sorry for using that word, nomenclature is that it's completely needless. It's completely needless. All it is it's a lazier way of saying something you could easily clarify in an instant.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems so self-important to basically have your own language.
Wow factors are not. I hate wow factor.
I've done some freelance where that phrase was employed, and I wanted to kind of bite my own lips off. There's no wow factor. That's what they say. All it means is it doesn't impress them at the moment, and how vague is that?
Yeah. It basically says, I don't like it.
In a way, it's even less helpful than just simply saying I don't like it. Because what they're saying is, it doesn't have the wow factor. It needs the wow factor, which is doubly unhelpful, because it's telling you that A, they don't like it, and B, you need to improve it in a way that they've not specified. It's just so unhelpful.
Anyway, enough of my bitching.
I feel depressed now. Talking about advertising.
Let's pick it up.
Well, the project that I was working on last week, that's more or less finished now. That kind of curious point where there's a lull before we start on the next thing. Well, actually, it's often liken finishing a project to just basically running out of road up a mountain, and then you just suddenly think, oh, that means I can stop now. But the problem is, I'm going to plummet to the bottom, and there'll be nothing else down there but death. I don't know what that meant. I don't know what that meant. I just suddenly thought, this is a metaphor that's going nowhere. Quite literally. See, oh dear me, it's been a day.
You could say the metaphor ran out of road.
Plummeted into the abyss of nothingness. See, more metaphors. No help there. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is that projects don't tend to peter out. They just seem to stop dead, and all of a sudden you've got nothing to do. Which, I mean, I've got more than enough really that I should be doing, but you know, you just kind of, you've got to instantly adjust to having a different focus.
It's a bit different for me because, like, we a lot of places I've worked, like launching websites has been quite an ordered process, and like everything's in place and everyone's happy, and it's all there, kind of ready to go, and then a switch is flicked and it goes live, and not much changes. But the company I work for at the moment, we're quite small, and it's a totally different attitude we have, which I quite enjoy. It's quite chaotic approach, though.
Yeah,
it's kind of like forcing the project to go live, and we kind of like put it live quicker than it should. Like when it's still unfinished, we get it up as an almost deliberate ploy to focus clients in on getting everything they need to do done.
Yeah,
because otherwise they'll take ages over it, and that's what's happened at other places I've worked.
I suppose there's this flurry of activity when people think, Jesus, it's out there, right? We better, sort out what we need to get sorted out.
Exactly.
Post haste. We normally just kind of hit a wall at the end of a project. To be honest, though, I mean, really, I should probably take a week off. I should take a holiday or something. I haven't had a holiday for, I don't know, God knows, not a week off, not a full week off for at least a year. I don't know.
Fucking hell, man, you should do it.
Yeah, though I kind of feel that what might happen is I might just kind of lie down somewhere, and then that will be the week.
Never wake up.
Yeah.
That's a bit dark, sorry.
No, Jesus. Is the death hangs over this whole podcast this week. No, see, the thing is, whenever I have a week off, I think, I should go and do this or go and do that. But sometimes you end up having time off where you kind of you don't feel like doing anything at all, but at the same time you feel like you're kind of wasting it.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
I feel like my week's been quite dull, really. Now I look back on what I've just said. I went to a party. That was quite good.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What was that for? Birthday?
It was a birthday stroke graduation party for one of Jenny's course mates.
Oh, yeah.
Having just graduated. And it was really good. They had like a tiered garden. It was at their mum and dad's house, and they had this like tiered garden. On one level they had like all food on tables, and then the next level they had a live band.
Jesus.
Like really good. And then a bar on the next level, and on the top level they had like 5 or 6 tents for people to crash in. It was great, and they let the music run till like 3:30 in the morning, which was amazing, because like even the parents obviously were parent age, oldies or whatever. If it was me, I'd have locked that shit down at midnight, but they let it run. I was impressed.
Wow, that is a lot of trouble to go to.
Epsom was jumping, I'll say that much.
Epsom, isn't that quite posh?
Yeah, it looked quite posh.
Lots of people there? Yeah,
there was a good turnout, loads of people. I wouldn't like to attach a number to it, though. Not at this stage.
No, that'd be irresponsible.
And they'd sort of...
Before the official numbers come out.
They put all these... they had these, like, LED candles. Have you seen those, like, little LED candles?
What, you mean candles with LEDs?
Yeah.
No.
Well, you can get these LED candles that are like candles, but it's an LED, not a flame.
Oh, right, LEDs in the actual candles, right?
Yeah, and they put them in these like nice little bags and
light and everything.
It looked quite nice. But this woman came up to this like nice little lady came up to me, who might have been a friend of the parents, like a bit older, came up and said, "Oh, it seems like a bit of a fire hazard, all these candles lying everywhere." And sort of said, you fucking idiot.
Is that what you said? You just went, you idiot, you fucking idiot.
Punched her in the face. No, I didn't say that. I just agreed.
You just threw your drink in her face and walked away.
I called the local fire brigade and reported them. Moving on.
Let's see what else have I done. See, now coming down from the party, it seems like an anticlimax. I went walking with a friend of mine from Eastleigh to Winchester. All in, that was probably about 10 miles. That was quite nice.
Nice. What, along the motorway?
Blazing sun. yeah, we jogged along the A27, is it? That was pretty nice. That was pretty. Though by the end of it, my legs just weren't working at all. I was kind of walking like John Cleese. and then I went after that. I got on a train and then went straight to my sister's to play with my nephew.
Oh, nice. How old is he?
He's 5.
Do you fight?
So he's got megawatts of energy. Oh yeah, normally he won't sit still at all. It's either football or piggybacks or water guns or whatever. And I was just hoping there wasn't going to be too much running around because my legs were fucked. And there wasn't. That was all right. We just did a lot of drawing and played Mario Kart. What else have we been doing? I was wondering what would become of kind of the old social networking sort of websites. I mean, a lot are still active. I mean, Facebook reigns king, and then used to be obviously MySpace is in the dumper these days. And there's Bebo. I always got the impression Bebo was for a much younger age. Maybe it certainly was all laid out like MySpace, and there were sort of garish graphics everywhere. And I was reading a number of articles on it. So I thought I'd go and educate myself. And there was just one profile, if I can get it up now, just really quite amused me. Basically, every kind of conversational early 20s cliche that you hear around is in there. I mean, I imagine back in my day in the 90s, we probably had our equivalents of such cliches, but then, I'm blind to the faults of my own generation. That's the privilege of getting older. Yeah, here we go. This is a girl. I'm not going to say, obviously, her username, but it says on her profile, it says, "Hello everyone." It's without commas. Hello everyone. I'm 23 years old. I'm from Newcastle upon Tyne. Yes, I'm real, not fake, because I've got pictures to prove myself. Plus, all my friends and family know me, so if you've got anything to say, then come and say it to my face and not behind my back. If you want
behind my back.
Yeah, come and say it to my face. Don't be a backstabber. If you want my MSN, ask me. I don't bite hard. If you hate me, then get off my page, because I can't stand haters when I've got better things to do, like look after myself and be healthy. I don't bite hard. And following that up is the list of her hates, which reads like this: backstabbers, bitches, fakes, wannabes, people who can't talk properly, cheats, players, stuck-up bitches. You notice a pattern there. And then it ends up with boring people being ill. I didn't really know what to think about that one. Boring people being ill. I mean, is it the fact that she's okay with other people being ill, but just not boring people?
I mean, we all hate boring people. Maybe she's just annoyed that they're ill, and
Or that's another facet of them being boring, perhaps.
Yeah. A boring person at full strength, is annoying but okay. A boring person ill, just terrible.
Well, the thing about boring people being ill is if they're ill, you could probably get away from them faster.
Yeah.
And if they're ill, they'll probably stop talking, so they'll be less boring. But Bebo's a goldmine. Yeah, I love reading people's profiles from like MySpace and stuff like that, because it's just kind of this amalgamation of kind of what they kind of think people expect them to say. It's that whole thing of, I'm myself, and I don't give a shit what you think, whether you like me or not, and I don't like two-faced people. Tell it to my face if you've got a problem with me. And of course, no one sticks to any of that. It's brilliant. I love it. Anyway. You're right. It was a quick toilet break. I didn't even get out of my seat. Just sprayed in the direction of the bathroom. The maid will clean it up later.
Right into my water bottle.
And now to the questions. First question is Mike from Southampton. He says, why is there always some Nigerian dude in the men's toilet selling paper towels and aftershave when you go to a club? And do you get a Nigerian bird in the ladies' toilets doing the same thing? Now, that's terribly racist, Mike. They could be Congolese or Ghanaian, Angolan. You just don't know. So just shame on you.
Why is there always a guy asking that racist question?
That's very true. That's very true. But to be honest, it winds me up. I have already paid God knows how much to get into the club. God knows how much to get drinks. I don't want to pay £1 each time I have a piss. See, the thing is, the kind of innocent party in all this is probably the guy who's selling the stuff, because the fact of the matter is, I imagine it's the club's getting a big fucking cut off it. They're the ones who have sanctioned it, and now they're just trying to squeeze their punters for more money, and this guy's just trying to earn a living. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I've never had someone sell me paper towels before. I've had the whole aftershave thing plenty of times, but
normally they've got hand soap, and then after the hand soap they hand you a paper towel, and then you're supposed to give them a tip for it.
I used to go to this club fairly regularly where the guy who he had the whole array of aftershaves, and he used to just stand there and just say the same line over and over again. Like, he'd just go, "Smells for the punani, smells for the punani."
Well, he is refreshingly honest.
Yeah.
I think there are a whole host of advertisers that can learn from that. Just say what it's for.
I actually remember as a kid going to Harrods to the toy section, and like on a trip, like an outing with my dad, and I went to the toilet, and they had a guy, obviously not selling aftershave, but there was a toilet attendant. There was a big bowl of money for tips for him, and I just saw this bowl of money and pocketed it. And then I was kind of walking along, I was really quite young, and
yeah, almost 22.
All this change rattling around in my pocket, and my dad was just like, "Where did you get that from?" And I was like, "I found it in the toilet." And he made me go back and apologise and give it back to the man, and rightly so.
No, see, that's fair enough. Someone's doing a job there.
Tried that with a Nigerian dude at age 25, and he smacked me in the face.
Well, he was Nigerian that time. But I don't know if they have. Has Jenny ever said anything about whether the same situation is in the ladies' toilets as well?
No, I've never. I've got no idea. Gonna have to go in.
Then you will get slapped. No, they must do it, mustn't there? Because there was that case ages ago about old Cheryl what's-her-face being a massive racist to that toilet attendant and then punch her in the jaw. I remember that. So yeah, they must do it as well. So it's not just us trying to be made for mugs. But yeah, terrible racist woman Cheryl.
Low and dodgy ground. It's Mike's fault. He's framed it in this context.
Yeah, the first question should be one that we take off into the entertainment heavens, but he's ground us down into a fine powder and then just sprinkled us on a cowpat. It's all a racist cowpat. Oh Jesus!
Well, it is difficult area, isn't it? I mean, if you meet a racist in the flesh, I'm a bit weak. I just sort of agree with them.
And then did you make sure if they have any end time plans, whether you'll be on the, in the safe zone kind of thing?
Yeah.
You'll be one of the ones that survives the
But
race.
it's just one of those. It's one of those subjects that kind of, if you encounter someone like that, it's actually often easier to just say yeah and agree, and then they're more likely to shut up than if you object in any way, you're going to be. I'm talking about situations when you in public where you bump into someone on a station platform, that sort of thing. But actually, sometimes, oh, now I'm
Yeah.
just ashamed of myself.
Well, I just think I'm getting a bit intolerant in my old age. Either I'll just walk off from someone if they start up like that, or I will get a bit angry. There was someone who joined Facebook who suddenly all the Jesus, we really are treading the racially charged path today. But they were an open supporter of the BNP, the member of the BNP group on Facebook, and their music was basically anything but hip hop. It's just see the problem is with many of them there's no point in arguing with them. You've just got to let them know where you stand. That's all. You don't have to rattle your saber at them.
Yeah, I had a situation this weekend actually. Went for a bike ride with Jenny, and we were cycling along this path in a field, big wide path, and there's loads
Big
of
wide
people,
path.
big wide path,
Big path.
plenty of room, and a couple of walkers
Loads.
coming towards us. And we were cycling along, not fast, not even in their way, well off to the side of them.
Mm.
And they looked quite posh to me. And there's loads of other people cycling around, and the guy just went, well, I think you'll find there's no cycling along here.
Yeah.
And pointed his walking stick at a postage stamp sign tacked onto a fence.
Yeah.
And I was slightly hungover at the time and not really that with it, and I just sort of went, oh, really? And then my mate Tommy was with me as well. He just sort of said, well, everyone rides bikes along here all the time, which was a bit better. And then Jenny came trotting along, hadn't heard any of this exchange, just went, good afternoon.
Brilliant.
But in my head afterwards, as I rode away, I thought what I should have done was taken the stick, snapped it in half, stuck one end up his arse and the other in his fucking eye. I was so angry.
I've been stopped by people on the bridge over the train tracks near my house. You're not supposed to ride along there, but everyone does. And there was some guy who actually got in my way, so that I had to stop fucking cycling. And I kind of lost it a bit. Really, I was just like, who the,
Well, it's quite
it wasn't my finest moment, really. But I mean,
it's a pretty busy road. That I wouldn't begrudge someone cycling on the pavement myself, personally.
Oh, that's it. Every time you see a cyclist, some of them do still stay on the road. If there's a cyclist on the road, the road is too narrow for people to overtake the cyclist. So unless they're, so in the Tour de France, they're going to be going up the hill at about, 1 mile an hour or something, and just with a huge queue of traffic behind them. But I mean, in the end, it's just bylaws are bylaws, I guess. It's you just ignore them. But there's always going to be someone who
You're
thinks,
making a stand.
oh, there's always going to be someone who thinks it's their duty to uphold them. It's always older people as well. It makes you wonder if some people kind of find a purpose in life by kind of upholding these sorts of things.
I think if I was quite hungover on that ride, so I didn't have my wits about me. I couldn't snap back with something. But I think had I been a bit more alert, I would have just turned to his wife, who was with him, and just said, "I feel really sorry for you."
He'll be dead soon. Well, I think that's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah.
And so the answer to your question, Mike, is that okay. Right,
You
next
are a
question.
racist.
You are racist, and we love you.
That was a
Okay.
joke, Mike. Don't hurt me. Mike's quite big.
In 1982, two men, Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder, sang Ebony and Ivory, in which they expounded that if black and white can live together on the piano keyboard, I don't know why they sang piano, but the point they were making was that if different types of wood can be put next to each other, then racism is wrong. Did the trick. No, there's no more racism anywhere.
One of the things from the last podcast that I regretted I had in my head to ask, which I thought would have been quite, when we had the question about the fight.
Yeah.
I thought what could have been quite interesting was asking, have you ever been in a fight? But I didn't.
Okay, well, have you ever been in a fight, John?
Yes.
Yep.
But it's a very one-sided fight. I was walking home.
Was it you and this woman that walked up and talked to you about the fire hazard set by these Chinese lanterns at the party?
Yeah. We scrapped for 5 hours straight. Naked.
There was everyone lost.
Now, I was walking home from a party. This is when I was probably like 16, 17, maybe. No, definitely 16. About that age. And been at this party. And I was walking home. And the sort of... I was quite pissed as well. The resident school bully, he happened to be in the street, saw me, and he came up to me, and he said something like, what did he say? He said, like, "Can you give me some money?" I said no, and then he pointed to a tramp and said, "But that's my dad," and I just burst out laughing. Now.
Right.
I was laughing because I didn't think it was his dad, and I was impressed at the ingenuity of in that moment pointing to a tramp and going, "That's my dad," as if to elicit a response. A bit like if NSPCC or whatever come up and show you a picture of an abused child. It creates a reaction, and you have to give money as a response to it. So that's what I was laughing at. His genius. I mean, maybe it was his dad. I don't think it was, but
right.
He took great offence to that, and he threw me in a shop doorway, and proceeded to punch me in the face. But I was so drunk, and the adrenaline kicked in. I didn't fight back or retaliate in any way, but he just punched me repeatedly in the head and said, "Give me your money, give me your money." But I was kind of big enough and drunk enough to take the punches, or his punches weren't too hard. It's hard to know.
Yeah.
But, I stayed on my feet, and he just kept punching me. I just kept going, "Stop it. Stop it."
Don't do that.
And I suppose it was quite late. I had a black eye, bleeding nose, and a split lip. I had quite a lot of blood coming off my face. And, the police car, he ran off, and I just continued walking home. And I was with a friend, and a police car pulled up, and they were like, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine, but there's a nutter up there. Go and get him." And then I just ran off and jumped in a taxi. So yeah, I haven't really been in a proper fight. I've been attacked.
Yeah. Yeah. What interests me more actually is I suppose the amount of people that haven't really been in fights for a very long time. Do you know what I mean? I mean, most people that I'll know will say, last time I was in a fight was probably in my teens or something like that. And considering sort of how if you look out on the news media, how violent the world seems. I think that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
I suppose
I've had fights in my teens, with friends, but I wouldn't class them as real fights. You know,
Yeah.
sort of be punched in the head and a few times and stuff, but not real.
Yeah.
Not a real pacing.
Not a cage fight. Yeah, well, you better get yourself trained up, because we're doing this these fights in Barnes in Kent, of course, to fund our
indeed.
Round the World in 80 Fights, John.
It's one of those things as well. I'm sort of like, I think I'm, part of me is a pacifist, part of me is sort of be quite scared to really hit someone just because of the damage
you know
you could do.
You know, that's one thing that occurs to me about, picking a fight when you're the age that you really understand what the consequences of it could be. Not least the fact that you could get the shit kicked out of you, but also the fact that what if you manage to get a right hook in on someone, they fall down, hit the head, have a brain aneurysm or something like that, and then you're done for manslaughter. That's the kind of thing you think in the moment, and that's, I think that's the kind of thing that, until you're in your, out of your early 20s, you don't really consider. Because that wouldn't be able to do the podcast anymore, and wouldn't that be a shame?
I was reading an interview with a guy who was a prisoner in somewhere like San Quentin, or one of the sort of big heavyweight US prisons. And he was talking about kind of the culture of fighting, and he had been in the what had he been in? He'd been in like the Aryan Brotherhood or something like an Aryan group, which he had joined when he arrived at prison. He joined it not because he really had any sort of their same beliefs, but purely because he recognised that being part of a gang brought you a certain level of protection.
Yeah.
So he joined, and then later on, for whatever reasons, I think more sort of the politics of it, he left, or he decided to leave. And part of the process of leaving was basically being beaten up by 10 guys in a row.
This just sounds a bit like American History X to me.
Yeah. Really close. But he kind of said, actually, in the moment, there's loads of adrenaline going along. You don't really feel it in the moment. And then eventually you'll pass out and you'll be fine. And then you'll wake up and it will really, really hurt. But actually the danger at that point's past and you're just hurting and it's okay.
Yeah, it sounds like a fucking nightmare. Yes, this is basically something I just culled from a message board because I thought it would be quite interesting. It just says Michael McIntyre. Why? I mean, he's one of those comedians. He's a bit of a Marmite comedian, isn't he? He seemed to come from nowhere. Deals mainly in observational stand-up. And he's, I'll put my hands up. He's not funny to me, but I don't know. Is this going to be 5 minutes of us just slagging him off? He's clearly aimed for something outside of my area of enjoyment and got it. And I kind of think, in a way, fair enough. Go and do your thing.
It's not my cup of tea, but I can see its place. And I think there is a skill, I think, to that kind of comedy.
A lot of comedians hate him. Probably comedians. I think I said comedians there. A lot of comedians hate him. I think because he seems to have had a bit of a rapid rise to fame. But by all accounts, he has done a lot of the real bear pits. Like sort of. There was a Jim Jeffries anecdote which I was really surprised to hear because I've directed you towards Jim Jeffries, where he's sort of. I think he's from Oz. And he's a kind of a shock comic, I guess, is the way you could describe what he says. So I was quite, I thought it was quite odd to hear he was on the same bill as Michael McIntyre. But there was this night at a club, and it's actually documented on YouTube, that someone got up from the audience and punched Jim Jeffries in the face. in the middle of his act. And so, of course, this guy, you know, got hauled off and stuff like that. And Jim Jeffries told this anecdote about, you know, Michael McIntyre had just been on before him, and Jim Jeffries went backstage, and Michael McIntyre was just sitting watching the TV. And, you know, he'd obviously known that something had happened because, you know, there'd been a big commotion and the audience had gone mad and all that sort of stuff. And apparently he went to Jim Jeffries, oh, you know, how did it go? And Jim Jeffries went, oh, you know, not good, man. Someone punched me in the face. And apparently Michael McIntyre went, nobody can follow me. Which I think is quite a good quip.
Yeah.
But you know, it's funny, I've you know, Stuart Lee has kind of, you know, denied that he dislikes him and stuff like that, and I don't really know what to make of that. Like I said, it's not. Yeah, his humour does nothing for me, and the problem is his delivery is kind of incredibly shrill and excitable, and I just really don't like it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll probably agree with you that it's not my bag, but I can't, I can see why people, the attraction of it, you know, something like a simple, you know, his famous routine is the man draw routine. I don't know if you've seen that, probably not, judging by the sound of it. You know, that style of observation, of being able to just point out something so simple and make so many people laugh or respond to that. Like, I think that's impressive. That is impressive. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean,
or anyone, you know, like Lee Evans or Peter Kay. It's that same. To me, it's the same style of.
Well, it's certainly the same arena. Observational comedy is but I mean, you know, as a better observational comic than him for me, you know, it probably would be Peter Kay. It would be someone like Dylan Moran, who I think takes observational comedy and gives it a surreal twist. And
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's just the way he talks. Just that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a twat.
I remember seeing an edition out of 8 out of 10 Cats when he wouldn't shut up and David Mitchell shouted at him.
Oh, fantastic.
That was actually quite good.
I mean, to be honest as well, you know, he's very rich and successful now, so as a British man, I must hate him.
Yeah, that's true. It's what old Ben Elton called tall poppy syndrome. Yeah. Ben Elton's a dick, so... but I think in answer to Michael McIntyre, why... it would be because there's a niche and he filled it. So if that's what he wants to do, fair enough. We've got our own comics that we like. Let's go and do that.
Go and do that.
Go and do that. But anyway, here's a question from Chris from London's. No one will know why we're laughing about that. And he asks, how long after a major event is it acceptable to make a joke of it all?
It's interesting that he asks this, because I understand from having talked to him briefly that when the London riots were on, which he mentions in the question, he was on holiday, I think in Ireland, and he turned on the news to see rioting happening at the end of his road.
Jesus.
So it's very relevant to him.
Mm.
Your thoughts? Do you want to kick off?
Well, I mean, I am of the opinion, I suppose, like many liberal twats like me are, in that I think nearly everything is fair game for humour.
Yeah, agree.
In the bleakest of situations, I think it tends to be. No, actually, I won't say a uniquely British thing, because that's not true at all, really. Or at least it seems like a British characteristic to make fun of something that's bleak. I mean, it wasn't too long after the London bombings that people were, making jokes about it, about how a guy made an effort to go down to his local strip club right after the 7/7 bombings, because otherwise the terrorists would have won. And I think it's all to do with offence, which is a very subjective thing, in the same way that morality really is a private thing, especially in our kind of fragmented age. And I think we're in a certain era of kind of controversial comedy being pretty mainstream at the moment, and there's a certain I think line you can trace through comedic history to where we are today, where you had, I mean, you could call it controversial comedy, you could call it shock comedy, you can call it un-PC comedy, but there is a precedent for it, but the context is different, and I think this is one of the reasons why it's all right to offend, because when you think about a lot of the old guard comedians that eventually got kind of outpaced by the new strain of politically correct comedy, you know, people like Bernard Manning and Jim Davidson and all that sort of thing, who then got fell foul of people getting sick of that type of humour as Britain became much more sort of culturally integrated with you know, the multitude of sort of mass immigration and stuff like that finding its way into inner cities and stuff like that.
Nigerian dude in the men's toilets.
Nigerian dude in the men's toilets. Once you found out, then PC comedy made sense. It was right on. It was about. See, I mean, unlike many people, I'm actually a fan of what political correctness is, or at least what it was trying to do. It was basically a formal set of rules. Or at least try to formalise a set of rules, enshrine them almost within law, or at least kind of social etiquette of how to treat people. You know, how treating people fairly and not judging them because of where they come from, but judging them on what they do. And it was, you know, being nice to people, which seems like all right to me.
Yeah.
You know, and the problem with that is that it obviously became cloying, and then you had bureaucrats, reinforcing ridiculous sort of kind of, you know, affirmative action type things, and politicians using the PC bandwagon as somewhere to kind of piggyback on to advance their career and stuff like that. So naturally, what happened is the pendulum swung back the other way, and controversial comedy, un-PC comedy, shock comedy has come back in. But the important thing now is that it's come back with a kind of a seam of irony undercutting it. I wouldn't be laughing at what these people say. People like Jim Jeffries, Jimmy Carr, maybe even Stuart Lee, if I thought they actually meant what they were saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Intent is very important, and you know, like I said, you get the impression they don't really believe it. Stuart Lee's a good example. Jim Jeffries and Jimmy Carr, to be honest, come across as very intelligent people outside of their stage persona, and you know, there's a certain amount of faith I've placed in the fact that they, you know, the terrible things they say, they don't necessarily mean that it's there for comic effects, and because it's playing with social convention and what you're allowed to say and what you're not. And people will always laugh reflexively at stuff they're not supposed to. I mean, someone like Frankie Boyle kind of walks the line on that score. But the problem is that, I'm sorry, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here.
You don't even need me.
I'm really sorry, man. I'll wrap up in a minute.
Keep going.
Yeah, I think this form of humour is so pervasive, culturally now, amongst people casually who aren't even comedians, and especially among people I don't think they get that, you know, this un-PC comedy has been ratified, been validated by that irony. And they think that simply being loudmouthed and unpleasant and pseudo-bigoted is fine in and of itself. And they're the ones who are going to spoil it for everyone.
Yeah, it's a bit like Al Murray, pub landlord.
Yeah, you kind of get the sense that, I mean, he's an Oxford-educated man. But his character, I think, has kind of, somehow been co-opted by a slightly conservative crowd, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I don't quite like that. And I mean, it's, in a way, it's not even the ones who are using, say, the pervasiveness of this controversial humour culturally to be bigoted themselves, because they reveal themselves pretty easily in the end. You can always tell a fucking twat who's just being a racist prick and not doing it for the sake of humour. It's not even those ones. It's the ones who just don't think. The ones who use this humour so casually, and they're just going to spoil it for everyone else when I think this pendulum suddenly swings the other way. And they'll be the ones who will be pointed at by the people against this type of humour as the ones who embody it. And they're the ones who don't get it. Is that incredibly elitist? I don't think I really care. I don't know. I mean, I do have a problem sometimes when I see people saying stuff which sounds like something one of these comedians won't say, but they're devoid of the context of the person standing in the room talking to people who have paid money to be there, and who have a vein of intelligence and a weight of intellectual context behind them. I mean, I think that sort of humour, especially in terms of stuff like, say, 9/11. I mean, Gilbert Gottfried got it right in the neck when he started joking about 9/11 about a day after, which I think shows there are some, cultural differences between the States and England. But like with Amy Winehouse, I saw people being right dicks about her, and I said to a few people, that's not really called for, because you're just being mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, also with the London riots and 7/7 and stuff, I think humour is almost like a pressure valve. The people feel some of this stuff is just so awful that being able to grasp what's been laid out before you is kind of ameliorated by humour.
Yeah, absolutely. It's human nature, I think. Jenny, I remember she spent some time working with paramedics, and I was there sort of front line, picking up dead bodies and dealing with nasty stuff, and so they have a right laugh because they have to kind of. And I mean, I've watched enough crap documentaries on Discovery to see soldiers in Afghanistan saying, the only way you can deal with this is to make a joke out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually remember reading at some point an article with Peter Bainham, a comedy writer. I think he was in like Fist of Fun with Stuart Lee and Richard.
Well, it's a big part of Day to Day.
Yeah, big part of Day to Day.
I think he wrote Alan Partridge partially as well.
Yeah, and he wrote Borat as well. But he wrote an article on this very subject, and I mean, he basically said, you've got free reign to go for whatever you want. But the example he gave a sort of concrete example from his own life, which I thought was quite good and sort of illustrated his point quite well, which was that his father was dying from cancer, and the whole family were gathered to kind of basically say goodbye, and it was, the day or the time at which he was going to pass away.
Yeah.
And they all gathered around. It was really somber and, dark, depressed atmosphere in this room. And his wife, Bainham's mother, leant in to her husband, in this quiet room and sort of said, is there anything I can do to make you feel more comfortable, in this moment? And, he just sort of quietly said, tickle my balls. The whole room burst out into laughter.
Yeah.
And,
and is that inappropriate? I mean, the point is that there everyone knows what the person feels about the person who's deceased.
Yeah.
I suppose that's where the problem lies. I mean, I take when I go and see Stuart Lee and he talks about wishing that Richard Hammond from Top Gear had been beheaded in the car crash that he'd been in. I take it on trust that he doesn't mean it, because he doesn't. He's playing with the form. It's a satire of Top Gear by, I won't explain it now, but for any of you out there, watch If You Prefer a Milder Comedian, Ask for One, the stand-up set by Stuart Lee, and you'll work out what's going on. But yeah, I think it's the problem is where that that trust is absent, which often happens when someone perceives someone to be attacking something that's sensitive to them or whatever.
Do you remember what happened with Frankie Boyle and the
Yes, I do.
Down syndrome? Was it something?
Yes. Oh. What basically happened was a woman went to one of Frankie Boyle's shows and was, offended that he was making jokes about Down syndrome kids mainly because she had a son who had Down syndrome. And a lot of people pointed out that, firstly, you go to see Frankie Boyle, you can't be shocked when he starts talking about these things. No. And also, up to that point, she was perfectly happy laughing at jokes about paedophiles and, people who've been murdered or raped or whatever, other material Frankie Boyle comes up. So it's a bit rich to suddenly start complaining just because that subject, hits home with you, when you could think that anyone else in the audience could take issue with any number of the things he was saying, but don't, because they know this is what he does.
Yeah, he's got a pretty strong reputation.
He's not an unknown comedian that's just wandered into like a school hall to do a set. She paid for a ticket.
I think his latest DVD is titled something like, "If I could reach out of the television and kill you, I would."
Sounds about right. Well, this is from a man whose autobiography was titled "My Shit Life So Far." But yeah, Frankie Boyle's a funny one, and I kind of wonder if he's going to be one of the sacrificial lambs when the tide turns. Like anything else, comedy is a cyclical medium. Things go in and out of fashion. Styles of humour go in and out of fashion, and.
Can you imagine there being like a Brass Eye special, paedophile special again?
It's a good question, really. I mean, some people say, no, that would never happen again. But the point is that the only reason, Chris Morris got to that point, and I mean, he didn't do it on the BBC, of course, he did it on Channel 4. Most of the work he'd done before that was on BBC. But he built up an enormous amount of credibility before that, which is what enabled him to do it. So who's to say that someone else, some new comic that's coming up, some new satirist, isn't going to build up that same amount of sort of goodwill and credibility in the industry, and someone will just say, you're at the top of your game, do what you like, and something else will come along. I'm sure it will.
Well, we've really deconstructed the state of British comedy there.
Well, we could say that, but then I'm going to listen to it back and go, why did I say that?
I ain't no joke. I used to let the mic smoke. Now you see me in deep concentration, cause I'm no comedian. Jokers are wild if you want to be tame.
This is from Lisa from the US of Stateside. I'm so sorry.
I can't believe you just said that.
Why?
That's what my dad says.
That's what Alan Partridge says.
Oh,
yeah.
It's quite close to my dad.
Oh, well, your dad is Alan, clearly. Anyway, this is from Lisa from the US. Have you ever woken up laughing from a dream? I haven't. Have you?
I haven't, but Jenny has, my missus, my wife, my other half, and that's quite entertaining. She'll laugh in her sleep. Or, I mean, this happened the other day. Got up in the morning, I'm not much of a morning person, and normally...
Who is?
That's true. Running around doing your own thing, and it's kind of, the morning's quite high pressure, like food in, this out, shower, get out the door, and
graphic.
I'm just about to leave for work, and Jenny sort of rounds the corner with a smile on her face and says, "Oh, I had a dream last night. I was taken to the woods and shot in the head, but it was okay because I survived. Bye." I'm talking. I'm not really a dream, but I do talk in my sleep occasionally.
Yeah.
Apparently, I once sat bolt upright and just shouted, "Why is the internet so fucking expensive?"
Which it really isn't.
No, I had quite a good deal at the time. I seem to remember.
Wow.
One can only imagine what was running through my head.
Your inner miser came out.
Have you ever talked in your sleep?
Yeah, loads. I wish I could remember any of it. All too often, though, I've been told that I will just end up having a conversation with someone, and it's only when I say something slightly incongruous that they suddenly realise I am fast asleep.
Yeah, Jenny does that a lot.
And that's really strange, because once you notice that on someone, you suddenly realise how glassy-eyed they look. And that's actually really quite unnerving.
But I can't say I've ever actually woken up laughing from a dream.
No, me neither. Sorry about that, Lisa.
Let you down.
Yeah.
I'm going to try tonight.
Maybe if you go to sleep laughing.
Just sustain it for about 8 hours.
Stick on the Brass Eyed Pedo special. Just go to sleep laughing, going breakfast, just like that. There was one I just wanted to add into the mix, just because I had an answer for it. This is from Marvin from Prague. Have you ever grown parsnips in an old boot? My answer to that was no, but I once did intend to grow a courgette plant in the remnants of an old mellotron I bought. You remember this? I won it on eBay. You picked it up, and it seemed like a bargain at the time, but when it actually arrived, it was about 20% of an actual mellotron.
It was inoperable.
It was completely inoperable. And I thought, that'd actually be, maybe I can just half bury that in the soil, get flowers growing through it. It's it's a musician's garden, which is
the Tom Waits album cover.
Oh, it's terribly pretentious. No, that would probably be actually quite good. And no, but I mean, the girlfriend at the time wasn't keen. We are no longer together.
Was that the straw that broke the camel's back?
I think it might have been.
Did you ever actually do it? You didn't?
No, I didn't, no. It was just an idea, but it just, it didn't have popular support, so... It's a shame it got thrown out, really, because now I can do whatever I like. I've gone to fucking dump, so do a little bit of character. Yeah, man. Anyway, that's that. Moving on, we have 2 questions from the end. Whipping through these now. This is one, I can't remember who this is from, but...
This is one.
It said, you're going to start a new religion. Tell us about it and convince us to join. Now, I don't know if you had something for this, but I kind of feel like reality trumps satire every time, and we already have Scientology, so this is going to be a tough sell.
I don't have one for this.
You've got to work out who you're actually praying to. Now, with us two, maybe it just could be Spencer Krug.
Or Tom Waits.
Yeah.
I think it would be easier to recruit for Waits.
Yeah, you're probably right, actually.
If I was going to start a new religion, I think it would be Davidism, as in Larry Davidism.
Oh, yeah.
It'd just be the worship and salutation. No, that's the wrong word. Just stick with worship. Larry David, and the practicing the faith would be being brutally honest to people about
I like
feelings.
That I do like.
And I think most people identify with Larry David. I don't think I think a lot of people would sign straight up to that because it's a get out clause, isn't it? Basically, it's like, oh, but you've been so horrible and not brutally honest with me. But it'd be like, well, I'm a Davidist, and they'd be like, oh, okay. It's like when people set up. I see. When you hear about these cults, like cult religions, and inevitably it seems every time there's some sort of messiah figure who's kind of offered to a group of people salvation, but there's a little clause in there that he has to sleep with all the underage girls.
That's dark,
but true.
Right, you ready to tackle the last question?
Theme park.
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay, this is a question from Lindsay from France. You're opening a theme park. What's its name, and what is the main attraction? Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
If you've got one, go for it.
With theme parks, right, I've got a kind of a two-tier experience going on. This is pretty much when I was young, and then as I've gotten older. When I used to go when I was young, obviously it was just amazing being in this this world they made for you, like wandering through Chessington or Thorpe Park or something like that. But as I started to get older, and this was even with places like sort of Disney World in America and stuff like that, I started to just notice little things, like you'd notice the little speakers piping out music just hidden in bushes. You'd see the McDonald's and the Pizza Hut in the middle of the Wild West town. Everything's made of super durable, all-weather plastic, and you can see wheelie bins in sight down the alleys between shops and stuff like that, and it kind of spoils the illusion. And so my first thought for this was, right, you know what, for a start, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have... I'll take away the McDonald's. I'm just going to go basically the other way. I'm not going to make it more magical. I'm going to make it worse. I'll take away McDonald's, and it's just going to be a burger van with an angry man from County Durham or something like that. But then... Is
that the main attraction?
I don't know, but here's the thing, though. I started to go in that direction, then I thought, no, actually. I thought it's kind of commercial suicide, but I kind of like the idea of a place that isn't built to last, in a way, that's not there for repeated visits with screaming families year in, year out, which is what these things kind of devolve into in the end. There's just too many kind of rough edges. There's litter everywhere. There's the safety rails and the turnstiles and all that sort of stuff. And I just love it if there was like this theme park that was it was there for a month and then it was gone, but it was brand new the whole fucking time it was there. It's, you go there where there's no chains, there's just handmade food, there's no peeling paint, there's no office managers wandering about, and it's a place where people actually look happy to work there. Do you know what I mean? It just I like the idea of, rather than indulging in my cynical nature, just going the other way and just making a really fucking awesome place to be, which just feels really just kind of a nice magical little place to be.
That's awesome. I'm excited.
Well, I
want to go.
I call it what would I call it? I call it, because it's only there for a month and then it gets just deconstructed, I'd call it Blink and You'll Miss It, you big fuckers. And the main attraction would be...
I'd call it Nick's Short-Lived Utopia.
I like that. And the main attraction would be a giant inflatable version of Linda Hamilton. I don't know why. But yeah, I would really love to go to a place like that and not notice all the things that break the illusion. I think that's what it is. Maybe I just want to be 7 again.
Well, I think I was trying to think about it. I was trying to sort of like extrapolate out from, I'm a great believer in, good things come from if you focus on stuff you love and are interested in.
Yeah.
And, lately I've been really getting into whiskey. So I was thinking like Whiskey World, John's Whiskey World.
Sweet. Discounts for the under 10s?
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Equal opportunities for all. Come drink. Come sup from my cup. I think the main attraction would probably be like a log flume, just into a huge vat of 50-year-old single malt.
Nice.
And have huge, massive bottles with like helter-skelters inside them.
Wow.
And you just spin round inside the whiskey, and then. But I wouldn't, I wouldn't be a dick about it. I'd have like rehabilitation centre on site as well, because you would instantly become an alcoholic.
Yeah.
If you helter-skeltered through an enormous bottle of whiskey.
You could do some serious merchandise with this, right? Because I remember someone once bought me a tin of Jack Daniel's flavoured fudge.
Right, yeah.
And I pretty much ate the whole lot in about an hour. And I wasn't pissed, but I felt quite sick. But I mean, they got their money already, so,
Man, fucking brand anything.
You just brand the piss out of anything.
It's really... I remember being in a, like, shopping department store place, like, at Christmas time. And there was just a section that would never normally be there that was just alcohol branded products. So it was like Jack Daniel's, Guinness, Budweiser.
Yeah.
Like those major players. And then just a whole assortment of things like Budweiser salt and pepper shakers, Budweiser apron, Budweiser kitchen knife, Budweiser hammer.
If I wanted to do something that was based on something I like, I wonder what it would be.
White Russian World.
I was going to say wanking.
Wanking World.
No, but actually picking up on the thread, you said White Russian World. I think that could be easily misinterpreted. You'd have people just wandering out, looking for a bride. It's not that sort of thing. So you could have like see, actually the White Russian would be more conducive to a log flume.
Yeah.
Because it would look like, the kind of foam on the water sort of thing. Maybe we could integrate our parks.
What, Wanking World and White Russian World? White cream foam, sorry.
No, Johnny's Distillery and White Russian International. Because of course both are alcoholic based drinks. We've got the rehab on site. So it'll be like a one-stop rehab. So people just walk in one side of a hut, they get dry instantly, and then they're out the other side, in a couple of hours. Straight into the gift shop.
There's a lot of scope here. You got Whiskey World, Vodka World,
Yeah.
Wine World,
Gin World. Almost exclusively inhabited by grandmas. No, actually, it's popular these days. So it would be grandmas and girls in their early 20s drinking pink gin.
And the binge drinking's really popular now.
Yeah, that's really taken off. Binge drinking.
There could be like binge drinking rides, like where you sort of get strapped in and then like a huge quantity of alcohol is just pressured directly into your mouth at high pressure.
Even better, what you could have, right, and I think this should be for Ciderland, is what I'm thinking, is that you basically get down onto a surfboard and you just surf along a river of cider, and then you can just kind of dip your head in as you go along. And so hopefully by the end of the ride, you're so pissed that you just fall asleep on the park bench that they've laid out for you.
That could work.
It'd be amazing. Special for Ciderland, special rate.
Ciderland.
Special rates apply for the homeless. Oh dear, what were we saying about un-PC humour? You see, it's all in context.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's us heading for the big dumper of comedy history. Because we're genuinely horrible people. Well, that was marvellous.
Yeah, absolutely tremendous.
Let me just... I just
What
want
have we come away? What have we learned there? We've got a Whiskey World Ciderland.
the vodka and gin archipelagos.
White Russian World.
Yeah.
That's a specialist one. And Wanky World. Extrapolated from the things we like most. It's damning.
I hope that answered your question, Lindsay, because if it doesn't, there's really nothing we can do about that.
She's posted this nice question, and we've just totally desecrated it.
And the final question, the what would you do if question. And this week, I think Johnny should answer it, because I did it last week. So, Johnny, what would you do if your cock got cut off?
I would wear it as a finger puppet and try and make my fame and fortune by inventing a children's TV programme called Fingercock.
That's horrific. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Do you think anyone will come back next time? I don't think so.
No. That came to me in the shower, that. Just out of nowhere.
While you were cleaning your cock.
This would make a great puppet.
This would make a great... Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Look, wife, what I worked out.
Look, wife. Wife, come here, wife. Where are you, wife?
Oh, God.